I think some businesses are maybe slightly anxious about bringing someone in and saying, hey, we've got someone talking about AI, and then panic sets in and everyone starts thinking, oh, I'm going to be replaced by AI. They're trying to replace me. How can you put someone's mind at ease about that maybe wants to do some work with us? Kia ora, this is Sean O'Neill, and you're on the Essential Talent podcast with my very special guest, Matt Ensor from Kia ora AI. How are you, sir?
Hey, Sean. Yeah, doing well. Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Now, you've had an incredible background in AI. Before we get into asking you a few questions, can you just tell our audience a little bit about your background and how you got into this field and what you've done so far?
Yeah. So my current, I've just set up Kia ora AI, which is our focus is on accelerating the adoption of generative AI in New Zealand businesses, and it's something I've been focused on ever since 2018, before ChatGPT. I worked in Frankly AI, which is another startup I founded, and that was all about bringing generative AI into Microsoft Teams. So we were the first in the world to do that. So my last role really at the moment is chair of the AI Forum's working group on large language models. So kind of everything I do is about how do we get New Zealand businesses started with generative AI. Not the hype, not the 5 years time, but really, where do we get started? What do we do?
And this is why I do like working with you, and a lot of our top clients like working with you, is that you acknowledge that there is actually quite a bit of hype out there, and some of it is, a lot of it is unfounded, but you seem to break it down into really simple terms for business.
Yeah. I mean, you got to keep your eye on the future, for sure. And it's interesting, sometimes to talk about that. But my presentations very much are around, what's available right now, because most people, they know 5% or less of what is available to them, and often for free. So I spend a lot of time breaking down what the tools are, and giving live demonstrations of how you can use those tools today, to make more money, or reduce your costs, or just go faster.
So could you give me a case study? You don't need to mention the company name necessarily, of where you've gone in and done a presentation, how you actually run at it, and how the
Yeah.
company has benefited after it.
Yeah. So a lot of people I talk to, they're like, "Oh, I'm using generative AI," but when you dig deeper, it's they're doing their emails better, or they're writing reports better. And I say, well, that's not really transformational. That's great, but what's really transformational is really being able to win more work, or beat someone to a deal, or negotiate better. I was presenting to one group, and they're made up of brokers. And so what I did is I showed them on screen, if you get an RFP in, how can you use generative AI to very quickly work out, what are the winning themes that you need to do? If your business is not quite what the client's expecting, how do you get AI to help you bridge that gap, to put, your skills across in terms of what the client might be hoping for? I did one example where I got a large spreadsheet of conference attendees, and this is a real example from my own work. There are 1,000 attendees in there, and you get this list. You're like, oh, it's going to take me weeks to call through all these people and things like that. So I just showed them how, literally, you can get AI to process that, pick out the people that are most likely to respond to your call, work out what collateral will suit them best, put together a travel plan and a budget and a marketing plan, and all that within the first 10 minutes of your day. And so it was about how do you really accelerate business just by knowing what tools to use and how to use them.
What are a couple of tools that have really struck with you over, say, the last 6 months, that you've gone, wow, this is game changing for a lot of
Yeah,
business?
it depends on the business.
Yes.
So for many people, it's about getting a tool that's easy to access. They don't have to go on a big long training course, or it's not something their CEO is going to have an episode about. And so often it's the basic tool. So we've just had ChatGPT 4.0 released just in the last few weeks, which brings a whole lot of new capability to people. And there's no release notes. There's no instruction book. You only find out through someone showing you how you can use these tools. So a lot of the time, there are niche tools, and I research those for every presentation I give, just to see what people are using. But often, and certainly as we go into the future, these sort of foundation tools are getting more and more capable. I've done some demos. One of my favorites at the moment is Google Gemini, and its ability to process videos. And so, you might want to watch a 1-hour training video. I certainly don't. Just throw it into Google Gemini and get it to produce a training workbook for you on that video, and it takes all of a couple of minutes. It's these kind of transformational uses of AI that I like to do, not just as I say, generating better text, better emails and things like that.
You see and hear a lot of different opinions from people about
Certainly do.
about the effect that AI is going to have on the working population over the next few years. In your opinion, do you think that is overhyped? Like, will AI replace millions and millions of people?
Yeah. That's overhyped. What we're seeing now is that AI is sort of it's a tool, and so people who are using it to do certain parts of their role are doing really well. But we're yet to see roles where the human becomes unimportant. One of the great examples I like to talk about is call centers, and we thought that people would be replaced whole as bolus in call centers. And in fact, the opposite's happening. What we're finding is an AI-assisted call center operator is perfect. They have the empathy with the client. They can do the human stuff, but they're backed up by AI, which means that they get it right first time. So I think, we talk about that a bit in my presentation. Just about, I think, there is a risk if you're highly competent at the moment, because highly competent people are the least likely to use AI because they know what to do. They don't need AI to help them. But when you look at the research and what's coming out, highly competent people who don't use AI actually may well be overtaken by slightly less competent people who do. And so that's an important message I get across.
Yeah. What I do like about your presentations is you do have that ability to break it right down, and the importance of customizing it right for every client. As you always say to me, every presentation is different.
Yeah. I've sort of discovered, you can talk in big levels about AI, but unless you're really involved in it, it's quite hard to take that generalization and apply it to your role. And that's what I do. I spend a lot of time looking at what the tools are, but do examples that show exactly how it can change your day. I think that's the most important thing, is getting started and using it, not so much worrying about the future of open AI.
Yeah, exactly. Just on that, what do you think we can expect, say, in the next 6 months, 12 months? How much faster will it accelerate, do you think, from where it is now?
Yeah, and I do say in many of my presentations, and maybe it's a bit controversial because it's slightly different to others. I say, look, if you haven't used AI up until now, that's fine. If you're not going to use it in the next week or month or two, that's probably fine. But what we're seeing is that there's going to be another big leap in AI capability, and it's always hard to tell. You don't see these things coming, but my guess is it will be this year, and that's what we call the use of agents. And so this is AI, rather than taking one go to give you the answer, actually working out what are the steps it can do to give you that answer. And it might take 6 hours for the agent to come back to you with the answer, because it will go away and do its research. Might even call people and say, hey, look, I'm just researching this particular market segment. Can you give me some ideas? It is that powerful. So I think, the time is coming when it will become much more significant. But there's no reason to panic. As I say, the most important thing is just to get started now.
I think I've got a theory anyway that a lot of businesses, I've managed teams before of up to say 30 or 40 even, and I think some businesses are maybe slightly anxious about bringing someone in and saying, hey, we've got someone talking about AI, and then panic sets in and everyone starts thinking, oh, I'm going to be replaced by AI, they're trying to replace me. How can you put someone's mind at ease about that maybe wants to do some work with us?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is for staff to understand how they could use it in their role. I think, that fear comes from, not understanding, what AI can do and what it can't do. And so that's what I focus on. I talk a little bit about, what's a good use case and what's a bad use case. If you're a doctor doing surgery, probably a bad use case to use generative AI, because I'll get a different answer every time. Can't quite be sure. But there are some use cases where, it doesn't matter if it's not entirely 100% perfect. And so we talk a bit about, understanding that when Microsoft released Word and Excel, there was no ethics training. There was no need for anything like that. I think these days, you do need to have that sort of basic competency about, what models are right to use, what are private, what are secure, and be more confident, I guess, in being able just to play around and experiment and do those sort of things in your role with AI, and not be scared that you're going to leak information or breach some corporate policy.
Well, as you always say to me, your aim is to get people actually, stop talking about AI and actually start using it and hop on board and make things more efficient. Is there?
Yeah, I mean, talking about AI is good, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's my real passion is making sure New Zealand businesses don't suddenly get gazumped by other businesses who have embraced the basic tools of AI.
Yes. So, if you're interested in working with us at Essential Talent and Matt, please let me know, and we customize everything for your client, because for you, the client, because every client is different. Everything is unique, right?
Absolutely. Yep. And
Any
sometimes
closing thoughts, Matt?
sometimes you give a presentation and people come up afterwards. You have a grand old chat, and it's like, oh, if only I could come back in a month's time and tell you what's changed. What's going on. And so I think we do have some clients doing this. The smart clients are the ones who say, it's not one shot. Just come back and so we can keep up to date. And that's something that I'm very happy to do, and I think is valuable. I think, it's an ever-changing technology. And I say to people, don't panic, don't be scared. But do make sure you partner with people who can actually show you how to do stuff, rather than just tell you what to do. For me, that's the way I've learned, is through seeing what other people are using it for, and that's what I spend a good part of every day doing is just checking out how it's being used around the world. And I'm really keen to be able to pass that on, as I say, to the New Zealand businesses.